as a caregiver, there's a lot of things I can tell you. I can tell you what a commitment it takes. I can tell you how systems evolve to make things go faster so you can take care of them better as well as faster, obviously. And I can also tell you that you notice how time flows. As well as that, I can tell you that since my mom's diagnosis with a chronic autoimmune disease called posterior orthostatic tachycardia syndrome, also known as POTS, it has been 14 years, 6 months, and 6 days, which translates into 5,301 days, which is also 127,224 hours. I can show you the math for that if you want. Not here, right now, because I just have a flashcard, but yeah. I can also, theoretically, show you the math for 3 years, 5 months, and 8 days, or 108,432 seconds, which is the amount of time since October 8th, 2012, my dad was diagnosed with an inoperable brain tumor. Like I said, you notice how time flows. And it's really hard knowing that every second is a gift that may not be regifted. And that's something that you have to deal with. And something that I have to deal with every day, knowing that with a survival rate for malignant brain tumors being 34.4%, my father may not make it to see me graduate college or walk me down the aisle. I mean, of course he'll be there in spirit, but that doesn't mean a lot when you wish he was right there next to you. Now, in case any of you guys have been lucky enough not to see what chemo or radiation can do to a person, I'll tell you, even though you don't want to know. Strength and weight both leave the body. That's what happens when you're too nauseous to eat anything. And while sleep might fight cancer, cancer fights against sleep, making more than just purple bags appear under the eyes. And when you go against cancer, the treatments also cause pain. You can see it in the hollows of their cheeks and the highlights of everything. Now, this is not to say that my father isn't strong, because saying that would make me into a liar, and I don't really want to do that. My father is stronger than I will ever be, and is stronger than even the person that I could hope to be. He takes time like he has all of it, and he spends it on us. He works until he honestly cannot, and probably even when he shouldn't. He cares more about everyone else than he does himself, and he's an amazing father, and has been ever since I was a little girl, since day one. My father is the man that I have looked up to, and he has been my everything since I was born. But if you asked him, he would never call himself strong. Never. That word is reserved only for my mother. My mother, who has been fighting for almost as long as I've been born. My mother, who faces uncertainty with a rare autoimmune disease that's rarer than blue eyes and much more cruel. My mother, who every day scales a mountain of pills that are supposed to make her feel better, but just fill her stomach. A mother is just someone who gives birth. A mom is a person who cares for their family through heaven or hell, and that doesn't even come close to what my mom does for us. Now, I don't tell you this to just gush about my parents, although that is an added benefit, but so you have an accurate representative of how amazing they are. Because they're not just their illness, or what ailed them. They are amazing parents. I couldn't have asked for any better or thought of any better if I had the chance. They are smarter than the average bear, stubborn and caring to a fault, and I will say this to their face too. And they are so much stronger than words can say. But that does not mean that they don't need help. And that's what I've been doing ever since I was little. One of my earliest memories is coming home from kindergarten with my older brother, who's also one of my heroes. and coming home with him, telling him a story from kindergarten, and as we come into the door and I take off my pink sparkly light-up shoes, which were all the rage in kindergarten, we see my mom lying on the floor, passed out because she couldn't get to the couch and couldn't get upstairs with how this chronic autoimmune disease was doing to her, or making her feel. We didn't even skip a beat. Because when you're a caregiver, you have to identify symptoms in 10 seconds or less to be able to give them the care that they need. We gathered up a pillow, a blanket, and a bucket, just in case, and while Connor sat next to her doing his big, important 4th grade homework, I sat next to her and told her the stories of my day, shushing her whenever she tried to make a comment because my story was more important than her comment. Yeah. And although I do see the symptoms everywhere and I can see how they work on people, medical jargon doesn't always fit in my mouth right. I stutter over it and stumble it out and sometimes just butcher the heck out of the saying. Just, oh God. But I can still identify what they need and I give it to them as soon as they need that. Whether that be a bucket, medicine, or a hug, I will always give it to them because they are amazing. Now, just like every person is beautiful and gorgeous and stunning and all those positive adjectives, every vomit is disgusting. There's no denying it. But gross things never stopped me before, and we have a system for cleaning out the buckets that we stole from the hospital. Oops. And just like there's a 50-50 chance of me taking a ladybug on in a fight and winning, there's a 100% chance that people don't understand what me and my family go through. Because if they did, there would be less comments calling my mom lazy for using her wheelchair when she can walk, even though it causes her pain and makes her dizzy and takes away all of her energy that she would like to spend with her family. And how we are shamed for using the handicapped parking spot because we're just being lazy and we should give it up for the real handicapped people. Like, my dad's tumor isn't real enough or my mom's disease isn't real enough for them. Now don't get me wrong, I really don't blame these people. Because a lot of times there's not an outward sign of sickness. And I can't blame them for trying to do something that they think will better the community. But at the same time, it hurts. And a lot of people don't understand that the battle that someone is going through is not always obvious from the outside. And my parents fight daily. My dad fights daily against his own body, and so does my mom. And my dad gets poison pumped into him almost every day of the week to try and better this fight. And even with the aces of chemo and radiation up our sleeves, cheating doesn't always make a win. But people seem to think that they know our situation. That they are the ones to say if we're sick or not. That whether or not my story is true. I'm telling you it is. But it's hard. So I would implore you all to just take a second and realize that the battle is not always an obvious thing to be seen. And as Abraham Lincoln once said, it's better to remain silent and be thought of a fool than to open your mouth and remove all doubt. I don't really know what else to tell you. Being a caregiver isn't something that's talked about a lot, and that's more than okay. Because we are the people that need the glory. We aren't fighting every day. We aren't doing anything other than caring for the people that we love. And that's not a job. That's being a part of a family, or being a friend. So I may have lost friends because they didn't understand the commitment that it takes to be a caregiver, or they didn't appreciate the short notice cancellations, but that's still okay. And I just want to say that David Allen Wilford and Denise Claire Wilford, I love you guys so much, and thank you for being the best parents that I could have ever hoped to have. Stay strong.